Well, Growers Edge, I think, has made us more money by allowing me to survey the local bids that I'm in the area that I want to sell my grain. The local elevators and the ethanol plants know that this information is out there, so they've got to be competitive if they want to get the grain. You know, we've been able to maximize our return on our farm.
Good afternoon, welcome to GrainTV. My name is Cody. This is Brock Shimano. Today is Monday the 15th, and we had a little bit of a mixed trade in the grain complex here today. Let's turn right over to the Fire Tip trading platform, see where we closed off the day. Looks like corn for that September delivery down 9 1/4, with new crop December delivery trading down 5 3/4. We had September beans up 16 1/4, with November beans trading up only 6 1/2. Wheat in Chicago down 11 1/2, and Kansas City wheat trading off 7 1/2. We did have three very critical pieces of news that came out today. One was the export inspections, one was crop progress, and the other was the NOPA crush numbers. Let's turn right over to crop progress. Brock, did we have any changes there, and what are the key parts of that report that we should be focusing on?
You know, I think the couple of spots that we want to look at right now is the good to excellent ratings for corn and soybeans. The average of the analysts' guess were for unchanged good to excellent ratings for both corn and soybeans, but we did get a slight reduction for corn, down by about 2%, soybeans down by 1%. So not real big changes, but when we were expecting no changes, that could put a little bit of a bid in the market as we head in the overnight session. But you know, the thing to think of there with good to excellent ratings though is where are we now compared to where we were last year at this time. Last year at this time, corn crop was only 31% good to excellent. Soybeans was 34% good to excellent, so we're in much better condition than we were last year this time. I think the second item to take away from the crop progress report is the corn silking progress right now. If we take a look at this chart here, you can see the purple line is this year's current progress. We're at 16% in the silking phase right now. Compared to last year, the green line, we were 67% silking by this time last year. If you remember back to 2012, that's right when we got all that heat, terrible dryness going through the Midwest, and that's really when we started to see those crop conditions really start to decline rather quickly. But you know, compared to our 5-year average, we're still about 18% below the 5-year average as well. So, you know, we are moving along in the silking phase. The thing to keep in mind as we move forward the next couple of weeks is to make sure that we don't get too hot of weather and we do get a little bit of precipitation over the next couple of weeks or so.
Yeah, and you know, when you look at the weather, it's good, but it's not great. It's not the most ideal, but it does look like we're going to get some precipitation. Looks like by Thursday and Friday, there's a good chance that the northern part of the Midwest could receive between 0.4 and an inch of water. And then by the later part of the weekend, the majority of the Midwest should get that same amount of precipitation. So it looks like there is precipitation in the forecast, but it's not a ton of precipitation. It's not ideal, but it's not bad, and I think that's going to continue to pressure the market. You know, the other main thing that we talked about, you know, we said there was three things in the news today that we're focused on. NOPA crush numbers. Now, we had expectations for crush numbers that really are the worst, potentially the lowest crush numbers since 2011. Did we come in around those analyst expectations or beat them?
Yeah, if we take a look at this table here, you can see that the average of the analyst guess was for about 117 million bushels being crushed in the month of June. What we actually got today reported by NOPA was 119 million bushels. So we did come in a little bit above analyst expectations, but keep in mind this is still a relatively low number, especially when you compare it to May and the couple months before that. In May we had 122 million bushels of soybean crush. So we did fall a little bit there. We're starting to see demand wane a little bit for the crush facilities, but you know, going forward, you know, we're still on pace to meet the USDA current projections there.
Yeah, and you know, one of the things that we can look at here today, it seemed as though soybeans really had a little bit of a rally, especially when you look at that old crop August contract. And you know, some people are asking, you know, was it the NOPA numbers? And you know, the funny thing is that we actually traded up prior to the release of the NOPA numbers. And though the NOPA numbers came out better than expected, we actually came off those highs prior to the release of this report. So I would say that the NOPA numbers really weren't the main driver of us moving higher here. One of the main drivers, I think, that's causing this market to rally a little bit, it also has to do with convergence. And we're noticing this in the cash market. I don't know if you guys have been paying attention to your local spot basis, but most likely, on average, across the U.S., we're actually seeing a significant decline in spot basis for soybeans. We traded down 24 cents on average across the U.S. in terms of basis. last week, and a part of that has to do with the fact that we're seeing a little bit more of a convergence. We saw exceptionally strong basis levels, and now we're moving into that within 2 weeks of first notice day on that August contract. We're starting to see a little bit more of a convergence, a rally in the futures, a decline in the basis, and that's kind of bringing those prices a little bit more in line. I think that's one of the reasons we're seeing that in soybeans and not in corn. The other thing, too, when you look at this convergence, is that the August contract is trading about $1.47 over that September contract. So there's just another reason why we're going to continue, most likely, to see basis decline here in the weeks to come. Other than that, that pretty much wraps up today's show. If you have any questions about what we talked about, give us a call at 877-472-4607. Remember, you can follow us on Twitter or follow us on Facebook. Thanks a lot for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow.